Sawa. So, just a few housekeeping rules allow us to just be on mute so that we can all be alert and be able to hear one another. We will always give an opportunity for you to share anything that you have, and we are excited for you to be here in this particular webinar. So, why should you care about this particular webinar? Because today we're going to be tackling an amazing topic. Yeah, we're going to be tackling the topic of side hustles, why they are more or less mandatory in 2025. So, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Money Talks webinar. My name is Paul Edward Mwangi. I work at Mwalimu Biashara as a financial trainer. And for those who don't know me yet, for those who we've been able to have an interaction with them through the WhatsApp community, through our messages, and through previous webinars, I am proud. I proudly call myself a recovering spender. And what does that mean? What does that mean when I call myself a recovering spender? It actually means that there was a time where I thought my salary was allergic to staying in my account. So this means whenever my salary used to hit the account in a few days, 5, 10 days, salo manze yote disappear. The salary has already packed the bags and just disappears. And I think most of you can be able to relate to that factor. You can tell me in the chat section. And just when I thought I was clever, I usually used to go for these mobile banking loans. These are the things that you thought that quick fix, si nitaomba tu leo and then next month ikikuja nitailipa. And not for business. It was ideally just to keep up with my lifestyle and to keep up with the subscriptions. And then it hit me like a brick during some time towards last year. That if I don't get serious, I might be struggling to make ends meet and just having that case scenario where we like to call it hand to mouth. Okay. And it's the same thing that we are trying to probably educate ourselves at Mwalimu Biashara. So most of us are in a rush to, uh, you know, we have that fire in our belly when it comes to side hustles. I saw this thing working. Maybe you saw it in a TikTok video, or maybe it's a plan that you've been thinking about, and then with no plan, you rush towards it, and then you're there. Trying to make ends meet. And that's why we're here tonight. We're here to first and foremost laugh at our mistakes, because believe me or not, kama hujajaribu biashara, there's a common thing that people say, kama hujajaribu biashara huwezi advise mtu wa biashara. And I think some of us can be able to relate, because there are only some problems that those people who have opened biashara, when they ask you how is biashara, there's only one response. They tell you we. Akisikia mtu amekwambia we, hiyo unajua mambo ni noma. And ideally, it is to admit that yes, we have certain struggles, and here it's not to condemn us, but to be able to come to a juncture where we can be able to appreciate one another, and most importantly, to learn how to be able to move away from just hustling and to build hustles that actually pay and last. So buckle up, because today we are looking at the problem head on, why one income is not enough, and the mistakes we keep repeating with side hustles. So if you're ready to get honest, maybe have a laugh here and there, we normally do encourage that, and start thinking differently about money, then this is the right place to be. So I'll be taking over the first session just towards this particular training, and then I will be handing it over to our financial coach, who's going to be taking you over to the next step. But as always, we like to do a brief introduction. Who is Mwalimu Biashara and why are we here? So Mwalimu Biashara is here to help you to do several things. And the most important thing that Mwalimu Biashara is here to help you to do is something called to make money, grow your money, and protect your money. That is our core mandate at Mwalimu Biashara. And here we are able to do two things, either through personal finance or business finance. For this particular webinar, we're going to be focusing on leaning a bit more heavily on personal finance, but then since we're going to be talking about side hustles, then we're going to be roping in a bit of business finance. As always, at Mwalimu Biashara, we run a core curriculum that we've been able to take through our more than 250 clients that have been able to walk through Mwalimu Biashara's doors. And I'll be briefly taking you through this core curriculum in less than 5 minutes to show you exactly where we start, and at the end of it, what we normally do expect and what we are able to cater for you. All this curriculum is NITA certified, and it has been approved, it has been tested, it has been sampled out there and it has been approved for us to be able to take you through this training. So allow me to take you through each and every step in less than 5 minutes. The first step that you normally take through anyone who walks at the doors of Mwalimu Biashara is something called your current financial health. In the same manner that you go to the doctor, whether you're having an upset of your body, in the same way you take your car to the garage, in the same way you take that favorite dress of yours, na unajua iko na katea mahali, na you don't want to let go, unaambia fundi nitengeneze hapa. It's the same way that we come when you talk about money. What is your current financial health? Where are your finances? Are your finances in the red zone, where we normally say it's almost to the dead zone? Are they in a good place, or are they in the green zone where they're being nourished, where they're flourishing? And then you take it to step number 2, which is your relationship with money. Ladies and gentlemen, in every relationship, you have to do is to cultivate that relationship if you want that relationship to grow. And it's the same thing with money. What is your current relationship with money? At Mwalimu Biashara, we normally say that money talks. But here at Mwalimu Biashara, we are big people where we normally say we don't just want your money to talk, we want your money to start singing and singing the right tones. And then after number 2, okay. Okay, I think maybe we can mute for those who have not muted, so that you can be able to proceed. Thank you. So we go to staircase number 3, which is forecasting your plans. The 20 or 19 of us who are here, each and every person has their own plan that they want to achieve. I'd kindly request the one who is not muted, kindly just let me check. Allow me to mute you so that we can be able to proceed without interference. Just a second. All right. I think that should be done. Okay. So, forecasting your plans, as I said, each and every person has a plan that they want to do. Agatha Oturi, I can see you have raised your hand. Yes, Agatha. Is it by mistake or maybe a question?
Yes, Agatha. Good evening.
Good evening to you.
I was wondering, is your slide supposed to be changing?
Yes, my slide is supposed to be changing.
Sharing?
Yes.
It's has not. You are still on the first slide.
Thank you. Thank you for that. Let me just quickly get to it, and then I can reshare. Thank you, Agatha, for that. Really appreciate your feedback on that. Let me just check. Fantastic. Can you now be able to see my screen?
Yes.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Agatha, for that. Thank you so much. So as I was saying, the step number 1 is your current financial health. What is your current financial health? What is your current financial health? And then after that, we go to your relationship with money. How does that look? And how can that be able to help you to move forward? And then staircase number 3, forecasting your plans. Each and every person here has their own plan. Some of us want to go for that amazing holiday in Zanzibar during the December holidays. Some of us, they want to shift from where they're living. Some of us want to be able to build their homes, whether Pale Ushago or here in Nairobi. What does that look like? Each and every person is much valid. Your plans are valid. So how can we be able to help you to make your plans come true? Then we go to staircase number 4, debt. What does debt look like? And I know we're going to be looking at some of the aspects of debt, even when you're looking at side hustles. Like I mentioned, debts are mobile loans. How does that affect your finances and all that and all that? Then we go to staircase number 5, which is savings. Haba na haba ujaza kibaba. The little that you can start saving can be able to give you a nice investment portfolio for you to be able to create something called wealth. Then we go to staircase number 6, all about investments. And ladies and gentlemen, we do have monthly sessions where we have our investments masterclass, where we can invite you to be able to come and have that collaborative efforts. We talk about investments from minute 1 all the way to minute 90. What does investments look like? What are the best investments vehicles that you can be able to use? And then we go to staircase number 7, risk and return. This one is big because for every investment, there is always a risk and a return attached to it. What does that look like? And how can we be able to help you to assess the right risk and the proper return so that you can be able to maximize on your profits? And then you go to staircase number 8, which is on retirement and building your investment portfolio. Ladies and gentlemen, it is very much important, and I repeat, it is important for you to start considering about retirement. Why? We're going to be looking at raising cases of inflation. How right now the 10,000 that was there in 2020 is not the same 10,000 that can be able to purchase the same things here, and it's just 5 years, not 50 years ago. So how can you be able to start preparing for retirement? How can you be able to set aside some money that can be able to cater for you for your latter years? At Mwalimu Biashara, we are big at telling you that start preparing for retirement as early as now, so that when you are in your latter years, hautakuwa ukiomba watu 2K urgently. You understand? So that is quite important. And then you look at staircase number 9, the environment and your finances. We all know that we are heading towards the election year. How does that look like? For most of the people, how does Biashara look like? For most of the corporates, for most of the NGOs, how does that look like? And even for you, what does that mean for your money in your pocket? What will that mean for the side hustle business that you want to open? And then we can put it all together and we can gladly and comfortably say that we've given you the right curriculum to be able to take you to the next step when it comes to attaining something called financial freedom. So as always, I like to put back the question to you, our listeners and our audiences, from staircase number 1 all the way to number 10. Which one do you feel is the most important for you? Which one do you feel? This one, I think, Edward, number 4, number 5, number 6, and number 8. Hizo ukiniambia nieke class over the weekend, I will attend religiously and I will be there to listen to what we have to offer. And as always, at Mwalimu Biashara, no one has the right key, but we are all learning from each other. We are all learning from one another so that we can be able to improve our finances. So kindly just go to the chat section, tell us which out of number 1 all the way to number 10, which ones do you feel are the most important for you at this moment in time, and feel comfortable to put as many numbers as you want, and you can just put in the numbers, and then I will be reading some of them and telling you the next course of action. So even as we do that, allow me to pass over the baton to a financial coach who is already with us so that we can be able to tackle this important message on the side hustles. But as always, we are very much open to seeing how we can be able to proceed on with this. If you have any questions, put them on the chat section. We are here to help you, and we're here to engage in a much better manner. So our financial coach, if you can be able to hear us, Canon by. Oh, I can see some of the chat messages are coming in. Asanteni sana. I think I can read them as we give our financial coach an opportunity to join in. Maureen Gitu, thank you so much for joining in. And Monira anatuambia number 6, number 7, number 8, number 1 in that particular order. Amazing. Maureen, thank you so much. Number 6, number 7, number 8, that's investment, risk and returns, retirement, and number 1, my current financial health. Hapo kuna kashida kidogo. Thank you so much, Maureen. We shall be telling you more about it as we proceed on with this particular webinar. Agatha anatuambia number 1, number 2, number 3, my current financial health, my relationship with money, and forecasting my plans. Thank you so much, Agatha. We shall be reaching out to you as well. Number 6, number 7, number 9, that is investments, that is risk and return, and that is on retirement. Abraham ametuambia hapo, nataka kuwa kama Father Abraham. I need wealth and I need to prepare well for retirement. Sami anatuambia number 4, 5, 6, that is debt, savings, and investments. Wow, thank you so much for the responses. Let's continue. Let them keep on coming. Victoria anatuambia number 6, tuanze na investments alafu tumalizie na madeni. Wacha ni invest kwanza, and then the returns that come from investments, they will pay my debt. I see you, Victoria, and we shall be tackling some of them as we proceed. So thank you so much. I will be on the background like a fly, just ready to respond to your questions. And now our financial coach, if you can be able to hear us, Canon by.
Loud and clear, Edward. It's great to be here. Edward, please confirm you can hear me on your side as well.
Loud and clear.
Excellent, excellent. Thank you so much. Wish to welcome you to this webinar, but let's see the responses coming. I see Rachel is adding to this list. She's telling us, please speak to me about debt, which is number 4. Speak to me about investments, number 6, and let me know a little bit about retirement, building your investment portfolio. Asante sana, Rachel. It's good to see these responses coming in. Now, we ask these questions specifically because this webinar is for you. Everything we prepare in Mwalimu Biashara is to respond to what is a pain point for you. And so as we proceed with this webinar and even with future engagements, we'll take a note of what has come on the chat and we'll be skewing our discussions around that direction. My name is Kenon Bai. I am happy to host this webinar today. We are at 8:20 and by 9 o'clock we should be done. So we just need your 40 minutes. 30 minutes to talk about what we came to do here, 10 minutes for you to ask any questions that you might have, but let us engage because this truly is your webinar. So everybody will allow me to share my screen so that I'll be able to proceed with the presentation from where you've stopped. But asante sana, Edward, for making it very clear for us there that we are able to understand where we are at. Now, those steps Edward has talked about, those are the ideal steps to follow if you want to manage your personal finances. That's how you put it. If you really want to manage your personal finances, those there are the steps. Obviously, people look at it from different perspectives, but for us, we know clearly that if you follow these 10 steps, then you are covered. Okay, and we continue talking about this on and on. Now, let's go again to the chat section. We will engage you over and over again because we want, by the time 9 o'clock comes, this is not just a theoretical class. This is not something you just picked out and said, okay, so what was that about? Please go to the chat and write this. Have you ever had a side hustle like
Canon, we lost you. Can you be able to hear us?
part one? 2 weeks from today, it will be another Wednesday, we'll do part 2. And then the other 2 weeks, we'll do part 3. So today, we are just scratching the surface. Is there any one hustle you've thought? I've actually thought about this at one point, but I've never quite started. Okay, all right. I like what Rachel is saying. Rachel is saying she's once thought about painting and art. She's thought about painting and art and wondered. So it's just an idea that has sprung in her mind. But then if you're part of the Kibet community, you'll realize we asked you this question earlier on because we like preparing our minds for something, what you're coming to discuss. And we asked you, what 3 things do you feel you can monetize? I am good at this. I've ever thought about this. So that's the question we're asking you now. The reason this is important is as we talk about this webinar, we'll be talking about painting for Rachel. We'll be talking about art for Rachel. So it's already personal for her. So please go ahead and just put it as it is, whether it has worked or not worked, whether you know about it or not, but just put it there so that we can personalize it. Solo is telling me, I thought about baking cakes. Thought about baking cakes, but that's about it. Okay, so by the way, I also did cake baking about 3 years ago. I have stories to tell about baking cakes, but great to see what Solo is saying there. Agatha Otul is telling us she's thought about online marketing. Online marketing, how does it look like? What does it feel like? Okay, and then Maureen Gitu is telling us printing and branding. I like this. I like what I'm seeing there on the chat section. So we can start seeing that there's an idea that you have in your mind. Now, with side hustles, anytime you go through a side hustle, whether it works or not, you pick timeless lessons. There are some things that make you, that you gain by putting your foot out there. Now, of course, as you go to part 2 and part 3 of this webinar series, we'll be telling you then how do you run it such that you reduce the chances of failure. That's the whole idea. All right? Because again, if you do a side hustle that fails, it's painful at very many levels. One, you lose your money, you lose your time, you lose your psyche, you lose your self-confidence, you lose quite a number of things. And yes, as much as that is a lesson in itself, what if you're able to reduce that loss? That's why we are here to help you with this. Now, Berry Lotian is telling us she's thought about running an online cosmetics shop. Lovely. I'm liking this. I'm liking this. I'm liking this. So these are side hustles that we've ever thought about. In part number 2, we'll be taking you through how do you make this idea start working. But you see, the wise thing to do is to understand what is that thing that has stopped you from starting. That will be in part 2, series 2 weeks from today. But today we have enough examples to use. Not for the rest of us, I see we're about 21 in this webinar. Please feel free to put it on the chat because we want to talk to you about things that matter to you. All right. So I'll be my eyes will be on the chat section. Remember, by the way, there are no right answers or wrong answers here. We just want to make this very, very practical. Now that we have a few side hustles to talk about, at least we know there are people in the house here who have thought about side hustles. Let's pick some quick facts. What is happening in Kenya today? There's some quick facts that we've laid for you to show you that the hard truth is that if you have one income only, unfortunately, there are many points of failure. And let the facts start speaking. So today, World Bank did a research in 2022, and they came up with this statistic. More than 70% of Kenyans are one emergency away from a financial crisis. That if a financial crisis comes, I see today, let's see, we are 20 in this webinar. It means 14 of us, if one crisis happens, we are finished. Now, that is a fact we are looking at. Let's look at another fact, that the annual inflation, and I'll be showing you a screen about inflation, the inflation of this country, according to CPI rising, according to the study done about consumer price index, is that it's been on double digit. What does that mean? It's either 10, 11, 12. I know right now it's at 5, but anything from 5 to 15. What is this thing inflation? What is this inflation doing to you, and what does it mean? We'll be showing you that in a short while. But before I go on, I like what Sammy has put on the chat. Sammy is saying he has thought about refilling water. He's ever one day says, how can I start a refilling water business? Asante sana, Sammy, I see you there on the chat. Let's keep them coming. Let's keep them coming. That is Sammy with his comment there. This thing called inflation eats into your bread every day. I'll be showing you that in a short while. Let's look at another fact that has come up. That in 2020, that is according to Bizna Kenya, 730,000 Kenyans lost their jobs due to the pandemic disruption. You remember very well that there was COVID. The effects of COVID, I think they're still there somewhat. People have moved on. But to see what happened within a span of 1 year is quite alarming. 730,000 Kenyans lost their jobs. Interesting. And this is pointing towards, and of course, at the time you saw people saying, what do I do? What do I do now? How can I manage? There are people who thrived a lot in that session, by the way. Now, Edward, by the way, there's a small admin issue I'm seeing our remaining time is reading 9 minutes. It has a counter there that we have 9 minutes to go. Just check, Edward, the link that we used so that we see that either we can extend in terms of time or we get ready to switch over 9 minutes from now. But it's an admin issue. You can let us know how that is sitting.
Okay.
Another fact here is that in the Business Daily, it shows that 71% of employed youth between 18 and 35 years, they have a side hustle. For me, this is wonderful news. This is very good news that maybe out of what happened in the past and even out of financial education and many things, it is actually catching on. That is to say, it is actually possible. Of course, that age bracket might be speaking something to us, but at least what we're talking about in this webinar is not foreign. It is not a foreign thing. Now you have your side hustle, water business, online marketing, all those things written in the chat. I believe by now we have sufficient motivation to lock in and actually start to make it work. But let me see, what does this thing called inflation look like? Now, this is in very simple terms. Today, our inflation level is about 4.5%. But let me simplify all that to a layman, to a layman, why should we be concerned? Because inflation is kicking our shopping basket. You will notice I've put here some examples. I'm talking about today, 5 years from today, 10 years from today, and 20 years from today. Now, assuming this is a loaf of bread, so today, if I went to buy bread today, I will get these 6 slices. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Nikona slice sita. The bread, I have 6 slices. If I go to buy the same bread with the money, now here we are not worried about how much it costs, but how much bread can I get 5 years from today? Slice moja itakuwa imeenda. You can only get 5 slices for the same amount. That is what inflation means. That with the same amount of money that you have, you start getting less things. 10 years from today, you can only get half a loaf. That means the money that you used to buy a loaf today, you will need double that money. Today, if bread is 70 shillings, in 10 years, you'll need 140 shillings. That's what we are saying. And my friends, in 20 years, it will only be 1 slice. You will need 6 times the amount of money to buy the same loaf of bread. Of course, you can replace bread with very many things. You can replace bread with education, with a lot of things that we are doing. So you realize this topic of multiple streams of income, or a side hustle as people quickly call it, it ceases to become a luxury. It is not a luxury anymore. We are actually compelled to make sure we lock in and make it happen. All right? So then we can talk about then the common mistakes. Where do people go wrong? Where do people go wrong where this is concerned? What are these common mistakes Kenyans make with side hustles? Now, I'll start by saying this list is not exhaustive. But also, again, you remember this is part 1 of this subject. Mistake number one is starting with no plan. Just vibes. I think I've had, it might, that is a critical mistakes people make. Now, I'd actually understand why people do this. Because when you're starting off something, there is a sense of urgency. I totally understand that. When you're starting something, by the way, and you've set your mind to start it, usually you're already locked in, and any delay seems to be stopping you from doing that which you've locked into. So I would understand. But unfortunately, it can land you into a problem. Enthusiasm is a very good thing. In fact, it's a very critical ingredient for success. Passion, drive, all those are very important ingredients to actually make it work. But it needs direction. Okay? You don't want to keep copying people. You don't want to just say, I think this is making money. Before I proceed, do you know that copying business ideas is a strategy that works? There is nothing wrong with copying a business idea, because most times we struggle to say, must I get something that has never been done in this world? More often than not, that does not exist. Any idea you have is probably already done. So then why would we go into it? Because you have seen a different way of doing it, or you have seen a faster way of doing it, or you've established a certain gap. We all have kiosks za kuuza maziwa mkate, maziwa mkate, maziwa mkate. And by the way, they follow each other. Interesting. Today I was with my daughter in town, and she was asking me, how is it that she wanted to buy a phone case? So we stopped somewhere, Moya Avenue Apple. So we asked for in the first shop. Then whatever we were told we didn't buy, we went to the next shop. Exactly the same thing. Eventually, she bought from a certain shop, but this question made me think about today's webinar. If I'm saying that I have a business idea and you're telling me not to just copy, what are you telling me? I'm telling you, you can copy, but find what you call your differentiation. Because when the daily operations meet the real world, you've done what you thought will work, or how you thought it works, when it hits the ground, 90% evaporates. Now I'm talking from experience. 90% of how you thought things will work is completely different. Now you can start seeing why it is so important to actually have a solid plan. So mistake number one, which you want to help you avoid is, I know when we started the webinar, we have all ideas, water business and online marketing, and we wrote all those things we wrote there. And by the way, that's where it starts. But before you step in, build some resilience around it. Think through it. Run the business in your mind. Explore. Don't be in a hurry. I can tell you, I've been in situations where I have a business idea and no one could stop me. I'm saying I have to start. I understand that. But the idea is, if you have a dream that does not have a roadmap, ladies and gentlemen, you're increasing your chances of failure. But here in this webinar, we're not here to talk about failures. We're here to talk about success. Now, on the 1st of November, let me start by telling you this. On the 1st of November, we have a breakfast for side hustles. There we are calling you. It's a Saturday at 9:30. We'll be helping you actually get this thing right. So for today, we're just talking about, we're starting off with the basics. All right. So that's the first mistake, but it has a solution. Now, mistake number two that we've seen people make is where you make money, but you waste it. Very important. Remember, there is nothing wrong with using your money. I mean, it's pesa ni yako, you're the one who's made the money. But there is something about having a plan to reinvest what you're making. A business grows as you keep pumping money and resources into it. Now, I know there's a difference between pumping money into a business that is not working. That is not what we are saying. But we are saying, as a business grows, give it time. Give it time. And whatever you can make, put some of it and put it back into that business. So I have a friend who was in a business and they started off well. They had a very dry period. I think it was 6 months of a dry period, until one day they got a good break. A nice deal came along. That person suffered this, because that's when you feel you almost want to revenge. You want to revenge this time that I've been having that was difficult and everything. I want to buy this and the other and the other and the other and the other. Now, that can be a mistake, because businesses have cycles. Unlike people who are employed. You find that if this business is working well, the salary is guaranteed. You know it is, even if it's small, it is there. But a business goes ups and down. So the idea is, watch out to separate money that you need to use for food, Netflix, parties, which is okay, by the way. We have other webinar series which we tell you, give yourself a personal allowance. Enjoy your money. No doubt about that. That's a subject for another day. But business people or anybody who's running a side hustle, you need the clarity to know, this is the part that is mine. This is the part that belongs to the business, and I need to reinvest it back into the business. Because the idea is, because the side hustle goes ups and down, when it is down, you hit a cash cliff. You hit a financial wall. If you had debts and obligations, now they down on you. If you had something that you needed to do, you don't have the money. That is a common mistake we have seen. Okay, so the idea is to treat this business as the income that comes, you separate whatever is for you and whatever is for the business. All right. Obviously, there are many angles, there are many ways of dealing with this, but we're saying that's a common mistake we've seen. We'll be asking you in the chat section, by the way, to ask us questions. Please go to the chat section and ask a question. Let us have a chance to address your concerns. If you have any question about what I'm talking about, or something different, or a certain thing that you feel has not been covered, please go to the chat. We'll give you a chance to ask that question. But let me go to mistake number 3. Mistake number 3 is you have no strategy. Yours is just theory. This is a little bit different from mistake number 1. Mistake number 1, Nile Joto. It is that I want to start, and you start. That is okay. The other one is you have not looked at the intricate details that make a business work. Now, of course, when you write there marketing, pricing, customer segments, scaling, people feel you're talking about a big company like Safaricom. You're talking about big things. But no, every business, regardless of its size, has basic elements that must work. And most times, they work through a strategy. You need to say, I am here, I'm in point 1, I want to go to point 2, and these are the steps I need to take to get there. That's what a strategy is in simple terms. So if you do not have a plan, and especially, and you don't have to pay a lot of money to get a huge business plan and a financial model. Of course, if your business calls for that, we are not asking you not to do it. But it can be very, very simple. It is important to get that, because when the strategy starts to work, you start working smarter. You can work very busy, very hard, and you're moving on. Lakini ya usongi, it's like you are very busy, but there's no progress. Partly because maybe you don't know, is this working? Is this not working? Which part actually is broken? If I was to be asked for help, where do I get help from? And where exactly can I plug that help? A strategy helps you do that. Obviously, the idea is to build one for yourself, because it is important to have a business that has a strategy. Now, these are the main common mistakes that we wanted to tackle today. Remember, these are 3-part webinar. Today, we want to give it in small bits and pieces. But please go to the chat section, or even on the microphone. We'd want to invite you. Is there a question about a mistake you've thought about? Remember, we started by saying you have a business, or some of us are already doing businesses, okay? But is there a mistake that you've encountered, or you've heard about, or a challenge? You'll be happy to listen to and talk about it in the chat section. Please feel free to put that out. But in today's webinar, which I have approximately 8 minutes to go, that is part 1. That is part 1 of this session that we wanted to share with you, these common mistakes. This conversation will continue again 2 weeks from today. 2 weeks from today, we'll be going to part 2, and then it will culminate to that breakfast. Now, that breakfast meeting will be held in Nairobi. For those of us in Nairobi, it will be in Nairobi. It will be on a Saturday at 9:30. It's going to cost you 2,000 shillings. And that 2,000 shillings covers your meals. We'll be giving you a nice snack for you to snack on as we talk about this. We'll be there with another expert. We'll be there as experts who tell you how does it exactly work. The idea for that day is, it's called Build Your Business in a Day. By the time we start from 9:30 to 12:30, we'll have tackled these mistakes. Please bring them. Let us help you succeed in this. So I think I'll still look out for any questions, comments on the chat about these mistakes, and any other that you feel. Conversations will proceed also in the Kibeti community. This whole season, the whole month of October, we'll be talking about this because I see it is a subject that needs a lot of attention. Having said that, we also made a promise today to just show you a glimpse of what is this we call a Kibeti mobile app. Now, we know our community is called Kibeti community. We are called Kibetians. But in there is a mobile app that helps you manage your money. So it's on Play Store. Right now we are designing the iOS version, but on Android it actually is available. So if you do not have Kibeti mobile app, please go right now. Edward will put the link on the chat. Download it. What does it help you with? Why do I need this app? Of all the lessons that we teach eventually they're going to find their way in that mobile app. But for now, the one we're talking about is how do you manage your budget? How do you manage your budget to find the incubator? We are giving you an opportunity to, more importantly, to track it. I can tell you the biggest challenge is not creating the budget. The biggest challenge is actually tracking it. Does it work? So this is how it works. When you download Kibeti, you'll go ahead and it will give it's an easy, very, very easy, straightforward process. Of course, you will choose the permissions. If you allow Kibeti to read your SMSs, which is a critical permission, it will mean anytime you transact on M-Pesa, that transaction directly comes into Kibeti. The biggest challenge you've seen in the past is people saying you have receipts. I have to check my receipts. I have to go input it somewhere. I've lost track, Canon. This is too much. Leave it. I can't. That's what we listen to. That problem is eliminated by Kibeti because 80% of our transactions nowadays are on mobile. It will pick that transaction and it will ask you a question. So, Canon, you spent 600 shillings today. What were you spending on? Of course, this is a personal financial coach, but on an app. So I was spending on food. Okay. So you spend 600 on food. Had you budgeted for it? Oh, no. So it gives an opportunity to create a budget for it. You create a budget. And then every the improvements you're going to be making on Kibeti, it becomes a way to say, I'll open and see where am I so far. All right. My money is working for me this way. I do not want to live beyond my means. Now, guys, we have a lot of things we want to tell you. But this particular one, the ability to track where your money is going, automated in Kibeti, it is a first step towards financial success. Of course, when you go there, you'll find it has so many other features, but you want to take it step by step. So that's it. I see Esther is having a challenge. Why is it saying it's not compatible with my device? So Esther, this is a challenge you've seen with some of the devices. The Google Play Store updated their processes. In fact, we were given up to 31st of August to upgrade our app, and we did upgrade our app. But now these are the teething issues you're facing. Esther, I've seen this problem with other people. I see Rachel said, neither can I see download option. So Rachel, Esther, you seem to be having a challenge on your Kibeti. We will take note of that. In fact, we will take note of that, but we'll be able to assist you download Kibeti. But by and large, I know there are people facing challenges with it. It is a system issue, which we are working very hard on it, but it's very good to see that you're willing to try it. Esther and Rachel, we hear you loud and clear. Edward, please take note of the challenge that Esther is facing and Rachel is facing. Then Rachel and Esther will reach out to you with a solution. We engage our IT team to be able to reach you with a solution. But for the rest of us, if you don't have Kibeti or not facing challenges, please go ahead and install it. A couple of things. Let me give you a leakage. You'll suddenly see how you spent your money in the last 6 months. It'll show you that where has my money been going to? I want to understand. It will take you to the next screen and ask you, my supermarket is in Endanga. Which one is, where am I spending most of my money? Now remember, we are not stopping you from spending. In fact, we want you to spend. But we want you to spend with purpose. We want you to spend in a way that you have full control. So yes, the discussions on that will continue. I thought to answer that question because I saw it in the group. What is this thing called the Kibeti app? It is a working mobile app that can help you with very many things. As I've said, we have this side hustle breakfast coming up. I talked about it being 2,000 shillings, but if you choose to do it today, before the date, you actually pay 1,500. What do you expect to get? These costly mistakes you're talking about will move them from theory to practical. We'll give you a clear strategy for your hustle, and it becomes a sustainable business. You'll have a 90-day action plan, and we'll give you a personalized investment profile. After you make your money, where can you invest it? And of course, Kibeti comes, by the way, as a subscription product. It has a part that is free of charge, but should you choose to use it for the premium version, it costs only 300 shillings a month. But if you come for this side of us of breakfast, we give you the first month of November for free so that you can engage. Please find your way to the Kibeti side hustle breakfast. As I said, we are doing this in partnership with another company called Answer Africa. Answer Africa are the experts who help SMEs succeed in Africa. So yes, we have great things in store for you. That is one thing you want to book. I can tell you it is a good way to spend your 2,000 shillings. All right. The other thing that we have coming up is the curriculum that Edward showed you, the 10 steps. We handle this as a full curriculum. For 10 weeks, we teach you how to manage your money. So there's a session coming up on the 4th of November. But here, what we're inviting you for, it will be free of charge. We want you to come and see what is this thing all about. So that when you're committing your time, especially your time, and when you're committing to take the assignments we're going to help you with, and when you're committing your money, then you've really seen what this is all about. Our principle in Mwalimu Biashara is we give you the value. We want you to see what you're paying for. These classes cost 45,000 shillings, but it is a 45,000 shillings that wipes out all your personal financial problems. It's over 10 weeks, once a week. We meet only once a week in a webinar like this for 10 weeks, and you have a chance to benefit on that. So this is something you probably might need to start planning for. We allow installments, payments. We can allow installments. Don't feel like, oh my goodness, in the part of 45 wapi. Kama uko na 10, kama uko na 15, talk to us. We'll be able to enroll you in that class that's coming up, that is coming up soon. Those are the two things that we have running, and we want to tell you to lock in and engage. Ladies and gentlemen, it was a great pleasure hosting you tonight. That's it. That's what we have for you today. I'm trying to see there is no question in the chat section, but we are happy to take any questions, comments. If you feel there's someone who can benefit from what we are doing, please go right now, give them that link to the Kibeti community. Let them come. Let's educate people and let's move on together. I will stop here and hand it back to Edward to take us through the final stages as we close this webinar. I see we are 2 minutes above time, but thanks a lot for your patience. It was nice hosting you. My name is Kenon Bae. Have yourselves a great evening. Over to you, Edward.
All right. Wow. Thank you. Thank you, Kenan, for that. And yeah, really amazing. I can see the claps are coming in from all corners of the presentation. Thank you for that. If you want to also reach out to us, you can kindly do so via the number that is projected on the screen. That is 0746 380 606. That is our customer care number, 0746 380 606. Or alternatively, the number that we use on the Kibeti community, the one that you use for communication. I'm the one who normally uses it, so feel free to just go and side chat me or even put in your request on the Kibeti community. Then we can be able to follow it up from there. You can also reach out to us on our email, that is info@mwalimubiashara.com. Or if you're even looking to partner with us, if you have an organization and you want us to come and teach about personal finances and everything that we've talked about, kindly do not hesitate. Reach out to us, or you can even book an appointment to us every Tuesday at CMS Africa House, ground floor, Chania Avenue. And we are the wealth experts at Sandbox, where we are able to teach you all about wealth investment and how to overcome debt. Asanteni sana for your time. It's been an amazing session. Also apologize for the in and out for the first session and the second session, but it is such an amazing experience to see that all of us were able to rejoin in again. That shows the hunger that you have. And I want to personally thank each and every one of you. So in a nutshell, thank you, Leah Otieno. Thank you, Abraham Agina. Thank you, Agatha Oturi. Thank you, Alice. Thank you, Beryl Otieno. Thank you, Christine Tiani. Thank you, Drew. Thank you, Eric Mwanda. Thank you, Esther. Thank you, Frank. Thank you, Lawrence Almasi. Thank you, Lucy Mwakaba. Thank you, Maureen Gitu. Thank you, Nahashon Kabiro. Thank you, RD Munyambu. Thank you, Solo and Zoom user, whoever you are. Asanteni sana. We meet in the Kibeti community where we are going to be doing this once again. I'll be sharing the link to this recording tomorrow, so kindly be on standby. And if you have any questions, usisahau kutuambia. Asanteni sana Enjoy the rest of your night, and we hope that we can be able to help you grow, build, and protect your finances one step to another so that you can be able to attain wealth. Have a good night, gang, and see you in the next one next week. But one, asanteni sana. Enjoy the rest of your night.
Very much. Good night.
All right, thank you.